All right, so we were going to talk about the patch and the problems with it, but it seems that we have been given something new to talk about via Hi-Rez, because they just came out with this. So we're going to talk about this. Developer update, mid-season 9.5 reworked. Reworked. TLDR, we're addressing the community's concerns about the 9.5 update by rolling back many changes to restore the pre-9.5 gameplay experience. This might lead to some imbalances, but we're committed to making Smite fun and engaging again. Thank you for your feedback and support. Okay, let's get into this. Dear Smite players, we recognize that some of our most dedicated players have been expressing their dissatisfaction since the 9.5 update. Many of you feel that the changes to the time to kill have made the game less rewarding and frankly less exciting. Okay, so the 9.5 update was the one that did the massive HP change. I'm going to caveat this before we go forward. I was actually one of the very few people that liked 9.5 because I felt like it fixed a lot of snowball and made the games go longer at the time. So I'm just going to caveat by saying that I actually was probably on the unpopular side of this. When we decided to implement the change in 9.5, we had compelling reasons and overwhelming community sentiment to make some change to address perceived burstiness. Our data showed that Smite was in an unhealthy state with a troubling number of early surrenders. One of the key elements of any MOBA is the belief that a comeback is always possible, regardless of how far behind you might be. So this does make me nervous because I would argue that we are in the most snowball at high level gameplay. We're in one of the most snowball metas of all time right now. Just my personal experience, there's like 2 other metas that have ever been this bad in terms of snowball. So the 9.5 update achieved many of its intended goals. Early surrender rates dropped significantly and various game health metrics improved. However, despite these positive changes, we understand that the overall enjoyment of the game has diminished for many of you. And as time went on, the metrics trended downwards, showing that this short-term improvement likely had a negative long-term impact. The recently announced 11.6 mid-season update, which we've been working on for some time, aimed to provide meaningful updates to the jungling strategy with changes to the shaman camp and spirit totem systems. Okay, well, it doesn't, but we also introduced a comprehensive overhaul of Tier 2 items, resulting in new interesting item builds in our internal and ambassador testing. However, we recognize that these changes did not address the core gameplay issues that many players have been concerned about since 9.5. This has led to a breaking point for some of you. Yeah, I mean, what's up, Fondre? The TLDR, this was going to be what our conversation was originally about today. Was going to be about the patch. I guess we're not really having that conversation because of whatever happening right now, but the TLDR was Smite loses players after the new season patch pretty consistently for about 5 months. And then the mid-season patch is supposed to be crazy. And then it kind of halfway brings back the player base. And then you lose player base until the start of the new season. It's kind of just the way that Smite has always worked. So, you know, the fact that this mid-season patch didn't have anything that was going to significantly change the game was not going to bring players back. So that was basically the conversation. But they have apparently heard that they weren't going to get any players back by changing Tier 2 items, which are inherently items that you only have for like 2 minutes at a time. In response to your feedback, we immediately began discussing how to better align the mid-season patch with player expectations. It is clear that the community desires a return to the pre-9.5 gameplay style with more than anything else. Therefore, we're planning to undo many of the changes to move the game back toward that balanced state. Important points to note. We can't go back exactly to 9.4 since many new gods, insert new gods, have been introduced since 9.4. There's going to be some inherent differences. We do not plan to revert to an earlier iteration of the Conquest map or to revert items to their 9.54 states. Change number 1, God tankiness. We are intending to address the core major God level changes in 9.5. We're going to decrease base HP, decrease HP per level, decrease base physical and magical protections, decrease physical and magical protections per level. All right. Change number 2, NPC health and damage. Minions, jungle cam, jungle bosses, tower phoenixes will receive adjustments to reverse any changes made in 9.5. The intention of these changes is for players to proceed through the game at a reasonable rate, considering God stat adjustments. I am sure that, Chapo and gang are going to be really happy about this, and I cannot deny that this is going to have a drastic change on the game and could very well bring back people in to change it. But I am immediately worried that we're going to go from 20-minute Smite matches to 14-minute Smite matches. And by 14-minute matches, I mean like Titan kills at 14. That's my immediate concern right off the bat, is that we're just going to blow Snowball out of the water since we haven't done anything to address Snowball up to this point. Makes me super nervous. We've got full details and the exact number of changes with you soon. Timing. We're currently evaluating how long it will take to implement these changes. Our goal is to deliver this update as soon as possible. We're targeting the planned 11.6 release date. We'll update you if this changes. Expect imbalances. Some aspects of the game might be overpowered, underpowered. The game might not be in an optimal state for all players initially, and we need to continue balancing from this point. Our goal is to return to the basic state of balance and make necessary adjustments from there. How this impacts Smite 2. Smite 2 is a different game, but we're working to incorporate this community sentiment into how Smite 2 feels as well. Not all this feedback may be seen in the next alpha test, but we're working towards improving the pace of TTK, match length, and addressing a whole lot more of your feedback. Stay tuned for Smite 2's deep dive and our plans for Smite 2 development coming soon. We love Smite. We're dedicated to making the best game possible for our community. We've been listening closely to your feedback over the past few weeks, committed to taking actions based on your input. Thank you for the continued support and being an essential part of your journey. We hope to make Smite the game you love and choose to spend your time playing. Okay, so maybe we can actually work our conversation into this. There are pros and cons to this. So the conversation we were going to have before talking through all of this, we mentioned it a little bit earlier. Smite has a very natural ebb and flow. New season comes out, bunch of new players. Tons of those players leave until the mid-season patch. Tons of those players leave until the next new season. It's just kind of the way that it's always gone. Big problem with this mid-season patch was while the patch itself wasn't like a bad patch, it wasn't that there wasn't anything interesting in it. It was that there was no like marketing materials in the patch. There was nothing to make a player that had stopped playing between the start of the season and now come back. This is obviously a giant, push to fix that problem with the mid-season patch, which I appreciate. It's obvious that I'm trying to say, if you guys don't think that this is going to have an impact, if you don't think it's going to change the way the game plays, well, this is a YOLO and a half to change the game. And this is objectively going to be a very, very large change to the game. In fact, it's undoing a previous mid-season patch, which had a massive effect on the game. So undoing it inherently has a massive effect. So it's a very big leap in this direction. So here's the concerns. If I take you back to pre-9.5, as they mention in kind of all of these things, games were hilariously snowball. In fact, I would argue that this is probably the last time that games were as snowball as they are now. Right now, I would say most of my Smite games are over. Personally, you can tell the team that's going to win by the 12-minute marker. Most games. Some games, the Titan is dying as early as sub 20 minutes. I've had an 18-minute Titan kill. Not a surrender, a Titan kill in ranked conquest, which should be impossible. I personally don't think that there's a way to do this, which inherently was a strategy to fix Snowball, right? I don't think there's a way to revert that without the game getting more snowball than it already is. Maybe I'm wrong, but this was specifically a mid-season patch that was designed around stopping snowball and making games longer, which I think I've been very clear. I prefer longer matches. I'm a nice long MOBA match kind of guy. I like me a 45-minute match. I think that means there's a solid beginning, middle, and end game. So this is going to have a massive, drastic effect on the game. The game is absolutely going to change like crazy. There is no denying that. They have super strongly come in to address the concerns that this mid-season patch, I think we titled our video, Hi-Res is putting the mid in mid-season patch. So very clearly, they're trying to address that by doing a super drastic change. So I will say that I appreciate them listening and trying to do something so big, so fast to try to make the game, maybe more interesting for a while Smite 1 is still around and we still have it. And so I do appreciate that. But from a balance perspective, from a gameplay perspective, to me, I think that this is going to... I think it is going to have a very... People are going to be super hyped at the start, and then I think that there's going to be a lot of very fast games and a lot of surrenders, and I think that that's going to start to tilt people really quick. So I'd love to be wrong. This is very vague, kind of how everything's going to go down, probably because this wasn't intended at all that they were going to do this until all the reactions to the previous mid-season patch. So I think a lot of it is probably still up into the air, trying to decide, hey, what exactly can we do? What can we do? What changes are we reverting? What are we not reverting? All that stuff. So this is definitely a big, we will wait and see for sure. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pro players that are very excited about this change. I am not so quick to jump on the hype wagon for this, specifically because if we're undoing what was maybe the largest anti-snowball patch in the history of Smite during one of the most snowball patches in the history of Smite, I can see that just becoming a nightmare fire of 10-minute surrenders. But nobody's tried this yet, so maybe not. Maybe through a conflux of events, it just works, and maybe the games aren't shorter, and maybe it is more fun, and the games are like basically the same length, and so it might as well be more fun if they're the same length, right? So I'm not full negative on this. I'm not full positive on this. I appreciate Hi-Res taking a shot at it, and I think that this is, for me, probably going to make the games incredibly snowball. So pros and cons, and we will go ahead and have to just wait and see and actually play with all the changes and read all the changes and see all the things and wait for more information and wait for more gameplay aspects before we make like a full decision on it. So I give this a sideways thumb. Appreciate all of the attempts here. Not super positive that this is going to have the effect that people want. Comes out sideways for now. But thank you guys for coming out to the stream today. I do appreciate it. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope to see you all bright and early tomorrow morning. And as always, folks, have a twitching day, y'all. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a twitching day, y'all.